Okay, today we are going to do interference of light. What do you mean by the term interference? It means overlapping of two waves. But it's not just the superposition or the overlapping of two waves that can produce an interference pattern. Now, what is an interference pattern? It is the alternate bright and dark fringes obtained on a screen upon the superposition of two waves. Upon the superposition of two waves, alternate bright and dark fringes can be obtained on a screen. So, for the superposition of the two waves, there are necessary conditions to be met. Like the two waves should have same frequency. So, we will slowly come to that. First, we will learn about the principle of superposition. What do you mean by the principle of superposition? Suppose you are having a medium. And in that medium, a wave is traveling. Okay? A wave is traveling in a medium. Now, because of this wave, the particle here is getting displaced by 5 centimeter. Okay? Now, if a similar wave travel in the same direction, say, and upon the superposition of the two waves, when the two waves superpose, then because of the second wave, the particle is getting displaced by, say, 7 centimeter. So this 5 centimeter, the particle here, the particle at the point P is getting displaced by y1, and the particle at the point P due to the second wave is getting displaced by y2. Okay, so y1 and y2 are the displacement of the particle of the medium due to superposition of the two waves. Y1 is the displacement of the particle of the medium because of wave 1, and y2 is the displacement of the particle of the medium at the point P due to wave 2. Now, when the two waves superpose at this point, by what will be the net displacement of the particle at this point? The net displacement, y net, will be the vector sum of the displacements produced by the two waves separately. Vector sum of the displacements produced by the two waves separately. So, y1 is the displacement produced at the point P due to the first wave. y2 is the displacement produced at the point P due to the second wave. So, the net displacement will be the vector sum of these two displacements. Now, since y1, y net, y1 and y2, they are all in the same direction, we can just write them in scalar form like this. So, the net displacement will be 5 plus 7. So, how much is that will come? 12 centimeter. Okay, but it may not be a sinusoidal wave. It may be that in some cases, see, the y1 displacement of the particle of the medium is in this direction and y2 is in this direction. Okay, perpendicular to each other. So, the net displacement will be we will get by the vector sum of the displacements of the two waves. So, how can we find out the vector sum of the displacements? By drawing a parallelogram, completing the parallelogram and finding out the resultant, y net. So, what will be y net? Root over of y1 square plus y2 square plus 2y1 y2 cos theta, where theta is the angle between them, that is 90 degrees. So, 2y1 y2 cos theta will cancel out. y1 square plus y2 square, that is root over of 5 square plus 7 square. That will give you the net displacement of the wave. So, now this doesn't come. So, now if the two waves, so y net is the vector sum of the displacements produced by the two waves separately. The net displacement of the particle will get displaced by this distance. There will be a superposition in 5, this is 5, and from here this is 7, so the net particle will get displaced by 12. Okay, now if there is a wave like this traveling, and there is a superposition of two waves traveling like this, so at the point P, if the particle is getting displaced by 5 centimeter upward because of this wave, because of this wave, the particle at the point P is getting displaced by 5 centimeter in the upward direction. Because of this wave, it is getting displaced by 5 centimeters, say, in the downward direction, then the net displacement, this is y1, or rather, yes, this is y1 and this is y2. So the net displacement, which is again the vector sum, will be y1 minus y2. That is 5 minus 5, 0. The particle will remain at its own position. Okay. Had it been 7 and 5, then it would have gone by 2 centimeter. Had it this been 7 and this been 5, then the particle would have gone up by 2 centimeter. This is the principle of superposition of two waves. Now, so what is the first statement for the principle of superposition? That when two or more waves travel simultaneously in a medium, then on their superposition, the resultant displacement of any particle of the medium is the vector sum of the displacements produced by the two waves separately. You may write it down. When two or more waves travel simultaneously in a medium in the same direction, then on their superposition, the resultant displacement of any particle of the medium is the vector sum of the displacements produced by the two waves separately. Okay. Now coming to interference of light. Interference of light. I have told you it means superposition of two light waves of same frequency. Light wave superposition. Its interference means superposition of two light waves of same frequency and nearly same amplitude. So two light waves of same frequency are called coherent sources. Coherent sources. We will learn it in detail. What do you mean by coherent sources? Two light waves of same frequency are called coherent sources. Now, when two light waves of same frequency superpose, then on their superposition, the two light waves, light plus light, can give you a bright spot, that is light, or on their superposition of two light waves, light plus light, can give you a dark spot, okay, that is darkness. So it sounds strange, like light and light on superposing, two light waves on superposing can give a dark band, a dark fringe as well. So what actually is happening is the redistribution of the light energy, alternate dark and bright bands. So the condition for interference, the necessary condition and the first condition for interference is the two light waves should have same frequency and the two sources from which the light waves are emanating are called coherent sources. Okay. Now this coherent sources, what is it? What do you mean by frequency? That is the number of oscillations per second. Suppose you are having these two sources S1 and S2. Okay. Light from S1 is traveling, say x1 distance. Light from x2 is traveling x2 distance. Okay. So this S1 and S2, we consider them coherent sources, like they have emanated from a single source of light, single monochromatic. We are taking monochromatic source of light. What do you mean by monochromatic? Light of single wavelength. Okay. So these two waves from S1 and S2 are emanating from a single source. So if whatever changes will occur in the first wave, okay, when going from here to here, whatever changes will occur in the first wave, the same changes will occur in the second wave as well, because it is the same light source. And frequency means number of oscillations in 1 second. So if this wave is making 5 oscillations in 1 second, the wave from S2 will also make 5 oscillations in 1 second. Okay. So what is different? Different is the path. You can see when reaching the point, suppose this is a bright fringe, they make a bright fringe over here. So when does two waves make a bright fringe? Two waves make a bright fringe when the crest of one wave overlap with the crest of another. When the trough of one wave overlap with the trough of another, then they make bright fringe. And two waves make dark fringe when crest of one wave overlap with the trough of another, they make dark fringe. Okay? So when crest of one overlap with the crest of another, there is a bright. When trough of one overlap with the trough of another, there is a bright. When crest of one overlap with the trough of another, there is a dark fringe. So here you see the two waves are of same frequency, so they will produce sustained interference pattern. Okay, and there will be a bright fringe over here. Okay, similarly, and this bright fringe has to remain bright for all times to come. For all times to come, here there should be a bright fringe. Similarly, a dark fringe, central bright fringe, dark fringe, bright fringe, and alternate dark and bright fringes form interference pattern. So here this bright fringe should remain bright with time. It should not vary with time. Here this dark fringe should remain dark with time. It should not vary with time. So if this remains like this with time constant, then you can see the interference pattern. When can this remain constant? When, because of this path difference. What is the path difference between the two waves? This wave is traveling a distance x1 and this wave is traveling a distance x2. This wave is traveling more distance. The path difference is x2 minus x1. Because of this path difference, there will be a phase difference between the two waves. I'll let you know what you mean by phase difference. Because of this path difference, there will be a phase difference between the two waves. But this phase difference, that is fine if there is a phase difference between the two waves. But this phase difference, phi, we denote it with phi, should not vary with time. Should not vary with time. It is because of a certain phase difference between two waves like 0, 2 pi, 4 pi, okay? For these values of the phase difference between two waves, though there is a bright fringe or the intensity becomes maximum. And it is because of the phase difference, when the phase difference between the two waves is pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, okay, there is a dark fringe. We will all do all this in the constructive and destructive interference pattern. We will be doing it. So this phase difference, suppose over here the phase difference between the two waves is 2 pi, which is giving a bright fringe. That is the intensity. What do you mean by bright fringe? Brightness, intensity. How much intense is the light? So the light is, intensity of the light is maximum over here. And you are getting a bright fringe. So this phi, this phase difference between the two waves should not vary with time. Okay, if it varies with time, then you can see once it will become bright, and next time if the phase difference between the two waves changes from 2 pi, if it becomes pi, then it will become dark again. Again it will become bright, again it will become dark. So there will be a general illumination. You won't be able to, your eyes won't be able to detect the interference pattern. Okay. So for two waves to superpose and produce an interference pattern at a point, the two waves should be coherent. The two sources which is giving out the light waves should be coherent. That means it should give out light waves of same frequency. Okay, and the two light waves should have a constant phase difference at a particular point. You may write down, it's very important. Two light waves should have a constant phase difference at a particular point, okay? At a particular point, the phase difference should remain constant and the phase difference should not vary with time. So you know what you mean by coherent sources. Coherent sources are sources of light which gives light waves of same frequency. And these two light waves, when superposed, should have a constant phase difference at a particular point, which should not vary with time. At a particular point, the phase difference should remain, if it is 2 pi, it should remain 2 pi. Then it will always give a bright fringe here. If it is pi, then it should always remain pi, then it will give a dark fringe here. If it is 0 over here, then it should always remain 0 and it will give a bright fringe here. So the phase difference should remain the same. Now let us do a bit more explicitly, let us do the coherent sources. What will happen if the phase difference depends upon the time? Then what will happen? Let us see. Now you are having these two coherent sources, S1 and S2. And from S1, the light is traveling a distance x1, and from S2, the light is traveling a distance x2. And they are producing a bright fringe over here. Okay, bright fringe. So the path difference between the two waves is this much, x2 minus x1. Okay, this much is the path difference between the two waves. If this is the slits, S1 and S2. Now what is the wave equation of S1? Considering this light wave to be simple harmonic, Y1 is equal to, what is Y1? It is the displacement at the point S1. Displacement of what? Displacement of the wave? No. Displacement of the particle of the medium? Actually, yes, if it had been a mechanical wave, but this is an electromagnetic wave. An electromagnetic wave consists of electric field and magnetic field, which are oscillating in mutually perpendicular direction and perpendicular to the direction of propagation. Okay, so and it is because of the electric field vector which gives you the sensation of vision. The optical effect of light is because of electric field vector. So it is actually the displacement of the electric field vector. But nevertheless, we are talking about displacement at the point, but not displacement of the wave. Okay, displacement of the electric field vector. So Y1 is the displacement at the point S1. S1 is the source of light. Okay, one source of light. These two are coherent sources. Okay, that is sources of light giving a light waves of same frequency. Omega. So Y1 is given by A1 sine omega t minus kx, and Y2 is given by A2 sine, let it be Y1 prime and Y2 prime. So the equation at S1 and S2 is Y2 prime and Y1 prime. And Y2 prime is A2 sine omega t minus kx. What is A1? A1 is the amplitude at the point. Okay, amplitude of the wave at the point S1. A2 is the amplitude of the wave at the point S2. Okay, omega is the angular frequency. T is the time taken by the wave to reach the point S1. T again is the time taken by the wave to reach the point S2. X is the distance traveled by the wave. Distance traveled by wave is different from the displacement at the point S1. Distance traveled by the wave. Now coming at this point, upon the superposition of the two waves at this point, there will be a resultant Y1 and Y2. Okay, so what is Y1? Say Y1 is the displacement of the point B, point at B due to this first wave. So Y1 will be A1 sine omega t minus kx1. So now it is clear, right? What is Y1? What is A1? A1 is the amplitude at the point B due to the first wave. A2 is the amplitude. A2 will be the amplitude at the point B due to the second wave. Okay. So omega is the angular frequency. How is omega related to F? Do we know how is omega related to F? Omega equal to 2 pi F. F is the frequency of the wave. What is K? K is called the wave number, and here it plays an important role. What is wave number? Now you have understood, right, why I have written here x1 and why I have written here x2? Because the wave 2 is traveling a distance x2. So over here it is displacing the particle by y2, and it has traveled a distance x2. So x2 is the distance traveled by the wave. A2 is the amplitude at the point B because of the wave 2. A1 is the amplitude at the point B because of the wave 1. Okay. So K is the wave number. Now what is wave number? Wave number means number of oscillations of the wave per unit distance. So for 1 unit distance, the number of oscillations, K is the number of oscillations per unit distance. Number of oscillations per unit distance. So for 1 unit distance, number of oscillations is K. So for x1 distance, number of oscillations will be kx1. For x2 distance, number of oscillations will be kx2. For x2 minus x1, what is x2 minus x1? This path difference between the two waves. The second wave has traveled an extra path of x2 minus x1. Okay, second wave has traveled from here to here and here to here. These two waves are traveling the same path. But the second wave is traveling an extra path of x2 minus x1. Okay. So for x2 minus x1 distance, number of oscillations is kx2 minus x1. Okay. So for this path difference delta x, number of oscillation is k delta x. And this k delta x is nothing but the phase difference. Phase difference means the number of oscillations corresponding to a path difference. For the path difference, what is the number of oscillations? What is the number of oscillations the wave has made for this path difference? This wave has made an extra number of oscillations for this path difference. So what is that extra number of oscillations corresponding to this path difference is called the phase difference between the two waves. What is K? Wave number, and it is related to wavelength by 2 pi by lambda. Very, very important relation. Phi equal to, you should not forget this. Please memorize, please understand and memorize this. Phi equal to 2 pi by lambda into delta x. I have given you this derivation and you will understand. Phi is the phase difference between the two waves, means the extra number of oscillations the second wave is making for an extra path traveled, that is delta x. Okay. So that is the phase difference between the two waves. Now, this phase difference I am saying should remain constant with time. You can see the phase difference is depending upon the path difference. Delta x is the path difference. And phi is the phase difference between the two waves. Now this phase difference is dependent upon the path difference and is independent of the time. What would have happened if this phase difference would have dependent upon time? Then I would have written the equations like this. A1 sine, if I take the two waves of different frequencies, just suppose I'm taking two waves of different frequencies, then what would have happened? Y net is the vector sum of superposition principle, vector sum. The net displacement at the point B is the vector sum of the displacement produced by the two waves separately. Y1 is the displacement produced by the first wave at the point B. Y2 is the displacement produced by the second wave at the point B. Okay, so Y1 plus Y2. So you are ultimately getting A1 sine. So I'm not doing Y net, I'm just doing the phase. Phase means this is the phase and this is the phase. This term related with sine or attached with sine is the phase of a wave, we know. So omega 1 minus omega 2 into t minus k or plus k. Okay, we are doing the phase difference, right? So minus k, x2 minus x1. So omega, so you can see here phi is dependent upon the time. If I take two waves of different frequencies, this is the phase, you can understand, right? This portion attached with the sine is called the phase. So the difference between these two is the phase difference, phi. Omega 1 minus omega 2, t minus k, x2 minus x1. That is phi, okay? So phi is dependent upon t. The phase difference is dependent upon t. But if it is dependent upon t, it will vary with t. If the phase difference is dependent upon t, it will vary with t. If t changes, that is with time, the phase difference will vary. But with time, if the phase difference varies, if the frequencies are different, with time if the phase difference varies, then at this point, the phase difference between the two waves, there will be a phase difference because there is a path difference. But with time if the phase difference varies, then at this point there will be bright fringe at some time, and at the other time there will be a dark fringe. At some time there will be a bright fringe, other time there will be dark fringe. So that will not give you an interference pattern. This point should remain bright, other point should remain dark, other point should remain bright for all times to come. So this is wrong. So phi should not depend upon time. Phase difference should not vary with time. Okay? Phase difference should not vary with time. Now, what do you mean by coherent sources? Now, coherent sources are the sources of light that give out light waves of same frequency. The light waves should have constant phase difference that remain at a particular point, that remain constant with time. The two light waves from the two sources should have constant phase difference that remain constant with time. Constant with time. The phase difference should remain constant with time at a particular place. At a particular place, the phase difference between the two waves should not vary with time. Means omega 1 and omega 2 should be same. That is omega minus omega whole into t. That will come out to be, this term will become 0. And it will only depend upon, phi will only depend upon k delta x. There should be a plus sign over here. Phi will only depend upon k delta x. Understood? Now suppose you are having two coherent sources S1 and S2 which are giving out light waves of same frequency. This wave from S1, light wave from S1 has travelled a path x1 to reach the point B. The wave from S2 has travelled a path x2 to reach the point B. Okay, so the displacement at the point B due to the wave from S1, displacement at the point B is given by y1. So I'm writing it in this way. y1 equal to a1 sine omega t minus kx. Okay, I'll explain it. y2, the displacement at the point B due to the second wave is y2 equal to a2 sine omega t minus kx plus phi, where phi is the phase difference between the two waves. Okay, so what is y1? y1 is the displacement at the point B because of the first wave. y2 is the displacement at the point B because of the second wave. a1 is the amplitude at the point B because of the first wave. a2 is the amplitude at the point B because of the second wave. Okay, omega is the angular frequency. Okay, 2 pi f, which will remain the same for both the waves. K is the wave number, you know. X is the distance traveled by the wave. So y2, it has travelled a greater distance and it has phi equal to k x2 minus a k delta x. 2 pi by lambda into delta x, that is the phase difference between the two waves. Okay, so this term really attached with sine is the phase of the wave. So there is a phase difference of phi between the two waves. Okay, now we are going to find out the intensity, resultant intensity. The resultant intensity or the bright fringe at a point is different from the sum of the intensities of the two waves. At a point, when the interference means when two waves superpose, then the resultant intensity of the two waves at a point will be different from the sum of the intensities. Means if the resultant intensity over here is I, then it should not be equal to I1 plus I2, where I1 and I2 are the intensities of the two waves at this point. Okay. So this is the screen over which you will get alternate bright and bright and dark fringes. Now the resultant displacement at the point B will be given by y equal to y1 plus y2 equal to a1 sine, it's just mathematics now, omega t minus kx plus a2 sine omega t minus kx plus phi. Okay, now I take a1 sine omega t minus kx, and here I am doing a2 sine omega t minus kx plus phi, sine a plus b, sine a cos b plus cos a sine b. So sine omega t minus kx cos phi plus a2 cos omega t minus kx sine phi. Trigonometry. Now I take sine omega t minus kx common. So what I am getting, if I take sine omega t minus kx common from here, I am getting a1 plus a2 cos phi, plus if I take cos omega t minus kx from here, then I am getting a2 sine phi. Okay. Now there is an assumption. We are taking a1 plus a2 cos phi to be equal to a1 plus a2 cos phi to be equal to r cos theta, and a2 sin phi to be equal to r sin theta. So let us do it in the next page. So we are taking a1 plus a2 cos phi to be equal to r cos theta and a2 sin phi to be equal to r sin theta. Then my equation becomes y equal to, in the place of a1 plus a2 cos phi, I am going to put r cos theta sin omega t minus kx. So I am getting r cos theta sin omega t minus kx. And over here I am getting plus, in the place of a2 sin phi, I am going to put r sin theta cos omega t minus kx. So plus r sin theta cos omega t minus kx. So what does, if I take r common, it is cos theta sin omega t minus kx plus sin theta cos omega t minus kx is actually sin omega t minus kx plus theta. Okay, and that is giving you the net displacement of the particle at the point B, or of the point B. The net displacement at the point B, where r is the resultant amplitude at the point B, Now this resultant amplitude can be maximum, this resultant amplitude can be minimum depending upon the phi. Okay, now let us find out r. We are going to square these two equations. So r square cos square theta plus r square sin square theta will give you r square on the left hand side, and a1 plus a2 cos phi whole square plus a2 square sin square phi. a1 square plus a2 square cos square phi plus 2a1 a2 cos phi plus a2 square sin square phi. Now you see a2 square sin square phi, a2 square cos square phi will give you a2 square. So a1 square plus a2 square plus 2a1 a2 cos phi. And that is giving you the resultant amplitude at the point B. Okay. So now the intensity, how is the intensity related to amplitude? Intensity is equal to 2 pi f square, intensity is equal to 2 pi f square a square rho v. What is it? F is the frequency of the wave, a is the amplitude of the wave, rho is the density of the medium, v is the speed of light. Okay. Now density of a medium, two waves are traveling in the same medium, so the density of the medium is the same. If the medium is the same, then the two light waves will have the same speed. The speed will remain constant. Okay, because light travels with different speed in different medium. We have learned. So if the medium is the same, then the light speed or the speed of the light will remain the same. The speed of the wave will remain the same. So rho is constant, v is constant, f is we have assumed f to be constant. Okay, we have taken two waves of same frequency. So I is proportional to a square. 2 pi is anyway constant. So I is proportional to a square. Okay, so amplitude square. So the resultant intensity at this point, R square, will become I, R, say resultant intensity, I'm taking IR. That will become A1 square. What is A1? What is A1? A1 is the amplitude at the point B due to the first wave. Please write it down if you cannot recollect. A1 is the amplitude. So A1 square will give you the intensity of the first wave. So I1 plus A2 square is the intensity of the second wave, plus 2 root I1 I2 root I2 cos phi. Okay. So this is it. This is the equation. So now when cos phi is minimum, when cos phi, what is the minimum value of cos phi? Minus 1. What is the maximum value of cos phi? Plus 1. So for maximum intensity, what is IR? IR will be I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 I2, because cos phi is plus 1, so into plus 1, okay, or IR is equal to root I1 plus root I2 whole square. So the resultant, try to understand the resultant intensity at the point B, is it equal to the sum of the intensities of the two waves? No. It is different from, that is what I have told you in explaining interference. The resultant intensity at a point is different from the sum of the intensities of the two waves. It's not equal to, IR is not equal to I1 plus I2. Okay, the resultant intensity at the point B is different from the sum of the intensities of the two waves. It is root I1 plus root I2 whole square. Okay, similarly for maximum intensity or constructive interference, we will do it in details. Similarly for minimum intensity or destructive interference, IR will be equal to I1 plus I2 minus 2 root I1 root I2. Cos phi will be minus 1. The minimum value of cos phi is minus 1. So minus, so it will become root I1 minus root I2 whole square. So again it is not equal to the sum of the intensities of the two waves. That is, it is not equal to I1 minus I2. It is equal to root I1 minus root I2 whole square. So it is different. Okay. Now coming to constructive interference. Constructive interference. Constructive interference. What are the properties? The first property is the intensity, the resultant intensity or the resultant amplitude should be maximum. And there should be a bright spot, bright band. There has to be a bright band. Okay. The resultant intensity at the point on superposition of two waves, the resultant intensity should be maximum. How much is the resultant intensity? That is given by root I1 plus root I2 whole square. Third point is, or resultant amplitude, how much the resultant amplitude will be given by R max, IR max, R max, how much that will be given by A1 square plus A2. Resultant amplitude is given by A1 square plus A2 square plus 2 A1 A2 cos phi. So for maximum intensity, cos phi, maximum amplitude, cos phi will have its maximum value. Because you see, A1 is a constant, the amplitude of the first wave is a constant, amplitude of the second wave is a constant at the point B, Amplitude of the wave at the point B is a constant, this is a constant. It's only dependent upon phi, the phase difference between the two waves. So phi for maximum amplitude at the point B, for a bright fringe, cos phi will be plus 1. So R square is A1 square plus A2 square plus 2 A1 A2 into plus 1. That is A1 square plus A2 square plus 2 A1 A2. That is R max is A1 plus A2 whole square. R max square, sorry. Okay. This is the second point. Third point is for maximum interference, for maximum intensity. Constructive interference means maximum intensity. maximum intensity, bright band. So for maximum intensity, cos phi should be equal to plus 1. When is cos phi equal to plus 1? When phi is equal to 0, 2 pi, 4 pi and 6 pi and so on till 2m pi. Okay, so fourth point is phi is equal to 2 pi by lambda into delta x. What is delta x? The path difference between the two waves. So delta x is equal to lambda by 2 pi into phi. Now what will be the path difference between the two waves so that the two waves interfere constructively at a point and produce maximum intensity? So what will be, for what path differences between the two waves? The two waves meet constructively and produce maximum intensity. So for what path difference between the two waves? What will be the value of x2 minus x1? Just keep on putting the values of phi. So for 0, keep the value of phi 0 over here. Keep the value of phi 2 pi over here and you will get 2 pi. If I put over here, you will get lambda. Keep the value of 4 pi over here and you will get 2 lambda, 0 lambda, 2 lambda and so on till m lambda. Keep the value of 2m pi over here, 2m pi over here and you will get m lambda. So intensity of light at a point is maximum when the path difference, you may write it down, intensity of light at a point is maximum when the path difference is 0 at a point is either where m equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. When the path difference between the 2 points, path difference between the two light waves is 0 or an integral multiple of lambda. Integral multiple. M is 1, M is 2, M is 3. Okay. So when path difference is 0 means when the two waves are not having any path difference, that is the central bright fringe. They are not having, they are traveling same path and producing a central bright fringe over here. So when delta x is equal to 0, 0 into lambda is, or when the path difference between the two waves is lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda. Okay, so this is very important. Delta x is equal to m lambda, m is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the condition for constructive interference. Very, very important. Please make a note of it. Now coming to destructive interference. We'll take a fresh page. Coming to destructive interference, first point is IR or amplitude should be minimum and there should be a dark band. What will be the minimum value of IR? That will be equal to root I1 minus root I2 whole square. Okay. Okay, that is the minimum value of, because you can see, because for minimum intensity the value of cos phi, I have told you already, for minimum intensity the value of cos phi is minus 1 because intensities of the two waves are constant. The resultant intensity only depends upon phi. So cos phi is minus 1, the minimum value of cos phi, then the resultant intensity is minimum. So I1 minus I2, root I1 minus root I2 whole square you are going to get by putting cos phi minus 1 over here. Okay, similarly you will get R mean is equal to A1 minus A2 or A1 difference A2, whichever is greater, whole square. Okay, third point is cos phi should be minimum. That is minus 1. So what will be the value of phi? If cos phi is minimum, what will be the values of phi? Phi will be pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, 7 pi and so on till 2m minus 1 pi. And what will be the phase difference delta x? Path difference lambda by 2 pi into pi. Lambda by 2 pi and put pi over here. You are getting lambda by 2. You have put 3 pi over here and you are getting 3 lambda by 2. Put 5 pi over here and you are getting 5 lambda by 2, and so on till 2m minus 1 lambda by 2. So the two waves will interfere. Please write down delta x is equal to 2m minus 1 lambda by 2. And another important point, very important point over here is that m is not equal to 0. If m becomes equal to 0, the path difference between the two waves becomes minus lambda by 2 or whatever. That is not correct. Okay, cannot be taken. So m is 1, 2, 3 in an integer. Okay, so you'll get delta x is lambda by 2, 3 lambda by 2. So two waves will interfere destructively at a point and will produce a dark fringe. You may write down two waves will interfere destructively at a point and will produce a dark fringe when the path difference between the two waves, when the path difference is an odd multiple of lambda by 2. When the path difference between the two waves is an odd multiple of half wavelength, that is lambda by 2. Okay, and that is all. And in the next lecture we'll be doing the fringe width, Young's double slit experiment and the fringe width. So thank you.